kitchen. I'm Jacqueline and this is Low Carb Delish, the channel where we make low carb delicious food to help control and lower our blood sugars and have a lot of fun along the way. Today we're making easy skillet pork chops smothered with gravy and mushrooms on top of faux potatoes that we're going to be making using turnips. So let me get my apron and we'll get started. Okay, today's going to be a little bit different filming format because I don't have any help with me today. So I'm doing this all by myself. So please be patient with me as I change camera angles. I'm working with one camera. My phone is not picking up audio very well. So I'm working with one camera today. So I'm going to be switching views so that you can see what I'm doing, and hopefully I can edit it so it'll look smooth to you guys and not be too choppy. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make our pork chops, and I have marinated these pork chops for, they've been marinating for 6 hours now. And I'll put the marinade recipe in the description so you can, make that if you want to. I really like to marinate pork chops because it keeps them not only from being dry, but it actually helps them be juicier. So this marinade works really well, and it's going to be super simple. I love recipes, especially for days like today, where today's just been a crazy hard day for me, and I'm sure you guys have the same issue sometimes. So today I'm doing something really easy, but it's also going to be filling and comforting, and hopefully it's a recipe that'll work for you guys too. So let me get the pork chops out and move the camera around so you can see what I'm doing, and then we'll get started on that. Alright, so we've got the pork chops here, and like I say, they've been marinating for about 6 hours in the marinade, and I'm going to put some butter and some oil in my skillet, and I'm going to put the skillet on medium heat, and we're going to put a little bit of butter and a little bit of avocado in there, and the butter's for helping with the flavor, and the avocado oil is helping to keep the butter from burning. So we're going to put that in there, and then put a little avocado oil in here. I am also going to go ahead and put some butter and some avocado in the back pan here because we're going to be making the turnip potatoes. And I've in this bowl right here, where this bowl here, there are 2 medium turnips and 1 small turnip, and this will cook down and it'll make 2 servings, so I'll have part of it tonight and part of it for a meal tomorrow or the next day. Let me get a little butter in that pan as well. We'll get everything going here, and I'm also going to make a small salad with this meal. It'll add fiber and color, and we eat with our eyes too, so that's going to be the next thing that we do. So what I'm going to do is take these pork chops out of the marinade and put them in this pan as soon as it gets heated up for me here. And actually I'm going to turn this heat up a little bit for this pork chop pan so we can get things going. So what we're going to do is we're going to sear these pork chops on each side, 2 to 3 minutes per side, to make sure that they're cooked through. Then we're going to take them out of the pan and let them rest while we are making the gravy that we're going to put them back in the pan with and smother it, and it's going to be delicious. Okay, so the butter and the oil are starting to heat up and bubble, and that's what we want. And this marinade is made with Italian dressing, apple cider vinegar, lime juice, brown mustard, and there's garlic powder, onion powder, thyme, salt and pepper, and I think that's it. I think that's all I put in there too. And there's also a little bit of extra virgin olive oil in there as well on top of the Italian dressing. So we just got them in the pan here, and I'm going to dump this in the sink, and then I'll be right back. And tonight I am using a can of mushrooms. It's 15 and a half ounce can of mushrooms. Normally I get raw mushrooms and I cook them in the skillet and roast them up, and they're really delicious. But like I said, it's been a crazy day today, so we're just going with easy breezy because we all need help. I'm sure if you guys are working jobs, raising kids, taking care of pets, doing all of that stuff, you totally know what I'm talking about having a hard day. So this recipe is going to help you not have such a hard day, hopefully, and make it easier for you to get things cooked. Okay, so now I'm going to put these turnips in the back here. I hope you can see that. I'm not sure. I hope you can see that. Anyway, I'm putting the turnips into the oil and the butter on the back burner, and we're going to get them going. And I'm just going to put a little salt and pepper on those. These actually are amazingly close to hash browns, and I was so surprised. I was so surprised when I found out that you could substitute turnips for potatoes. When I was growing up, I couldn't stand them. And it's so funny because I guess our taste buds change as we age. And so I thought, when I first heard about this recipe, I thought, well, that's not going to be the recipe for me. But it turns out I really like them. And I really like them cooked this way. And like I said, they're a great substitute for potatoes and hash browns. And that's kind of what I'm doing tonight, is making them up like hash browns. I juiced them up in the food processor. So that makes easy work of turning them into hash browns. You just have to cut them up and then put them in the food processor and let them go. So we're going to get a good sear on these. And I'm going to go ahead and set my timer just because I want to make sure I don't overcook. And I'm going for about 3 minutes on each side. These are boneless chops, and they're medium cut, I guess you would call them. They're not exactly thick cut, but they're definitely not thin. So it's probably going to take 3 minutes on each side to make sure they're done. And then we'll let them rest and pinch them. Let me grab some aluminum foil while I wait for that puff and pinch them when they're ready. And this is a meal that comes together really quickly. So that's another thing that I love about it is, you know, you're not standing over the stove for 40 minutes, hour or longer, trying to get everybody fed when everybody's hungry and tired, including whoever's cooking. So I'm going to bring the heat down just a little bit because I don't want them to burn. I do want to get a sear on them. I do not want them to burn. And I've got the turnips on a medium heat as well. And I've got the butter and the oil in the pan. I just put the salt and pepper in there, and I'm going to continue to stir them as they cook. And they'll get tender just like potatoes do. And the secret is just to keep them moving around while they're cooking. And make sure that you put a lid on it too, because it also helps to steam them while you're cooking them, and putting a lid on them accomplishes that. And we'll cook them until they get a nice sort of caramely brown color to them. So we're getting a nice sear on these. That's my timer going off. So we'll set it again for 3 minutes. And we'll just let these rest. And we stir up these turnips again. And I'm using my iron skillet just because I enjoy cooking with my iron skillet. But you can do this with any pan that you have. Any pan will work. Dropping my little flamingo dish towel here. recipe that we're making tonight, I'm going to make it like a regular brown gravy to go over this with mushrooms and herbs and garlic and stuff. But you could really put anything over these, any type of gravy that you wanted. Even my mom, when we were growing up, she used to cook this, and she would cook tomatoes and onions and put over it. I don't do that anymore just because of the carb count of a lot of tomato and a lot of onion. I do have some onion sometimes, and I do have tomato, but they're both kind of high carb, so I try not to combine the two very often just because I'm always trying to watch my carb count on things. And we're getting close. We got about a minute and a half to go. And I'll come back in just a minute when we're finished. And I'll show you how we're going to finish this gravy and stuff up too. And we're searing them, like I said, 2 to 3 minutes on each side, because we want to try and get them close to done, but not completely done, because we're going to put them back in the gravy. So I'm going to put them on the plate and tint them with some aluminum foil and let them rest while we're making the gravy. And then they're going to be tender and delicious, and we're going to have a really nice meal. We're going to turn this heat down over here. Tint the pork chops over here. Let them rest. And this is a trick that works with any meat. It took me a long time to learn this trick because I just wasn't paying attention. But any meat that you cook that you tint is going to help you to have a very tender, juicy meat. We're just going to add the mushrooms in. And we're going to get all these little goodies off the bottom of the pan here that the pork chops left behind. So delicious. It adds so much flavor to your gravy. Really, really good. Alright. And I'm adding 1 cup of beef broth to the skillet with the mushrooms. Just add that right in there. And then I'm going to turn the heat back up. Tonight I'm using this lupina flour, and I really like this because it's made from lupina beans. It's very low carb, and it helps a lot to add more flavor and help thicken gravies up. If you are allergic to peanuts, please do not eat lupin flour because it is a very close cousin to peanuts. And they have said that there are people that have experienced allergic reactions similar to that of people that have allergic peanut reactions, and those can be super severe. So please, 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 and this is probably about 1.5 tablespoons I'm putting in there. But yeah, please be cautious if you have peanut allergies. Do not eat lupin flour. I'll be doing some other videos very soon using different types of flours, and also some other fibers that I've recently found that I'm excited about because they're working for me to help with making bread and muffins and stuff, and it's something I really was surprised to learn about. But I'm going to share it with you guys, and it's going to be great. You guys are really going to love it, especially if you're wanting to make breads and muffins and things like that. So we're getting brown here. I'm going to turn the heat down a little bit. I think I am going to need a little bit more butter in here. I'm just trying to stick to the pan a little bit. So But I promise you guys, this tastes really good. It tastes really good. So let's add just a little bit more butter to this. And lower the heat. I'm going to let it cook a little bit longer slowly. Let that do its thing, and let's get over here. So I'm using glucomannan to help thicken this gravy up. I've talked about it in previous videos, but if you haven't seen those videos, this is a derivative of the cognac root, and it has 0 carbs, has 0 impact on your glucose, and it also thickens gravies and soups and things beautifully. The only caveat is you cannot use a lot of it, because if you use too much of it, you're going to get kind of a slimy factor. But if you stay in a smaller amount, it's fine. It doesn't do that. So tonight I'm using 1/4 teaspoon in the skillet of mushrooms and gravy, and that should be just about right for this recipe. And we're going to add a little bit of garlic powder and a little bit of onion powder. Not too much, because garlic and onion are carby. So you want to add enough to add a little flavor, but don't go overboard with it if you're trying to watch your carbs and everything. And I'm saying there's probably less than 1/4 teaspoon that I've put in here. And then I'm going to put a little salt and a little pepper and a little touch of thyme in here. And then in just a few minutes we'll be putting the pork chops back in to the gravy and smother them. We're going to cook this and let the gravy thicken up a little bit. And before you know it, you've got dinner on the table. Starting to thicken up there. I have a pile of utensils when I cook, and then I have to clean it all up when I get through cooking, but I use them all, so they're necessary. Okay, so at this point I'm going to turn the heat off of the turnips here. They're done. And I don't want them sticking to the pan. I've already got a little bit of sticking to the pan here, so we don't want them to burn and get too scorched. We like scorched food, but not burned, and there's a difference. And right now we're right at that scorched point. So I'm going to turn the heat off and just let those rest while we're waiting on the gravy to thicken up. And it is looking beautiful, doing exactly what it's supposed to do. And I'm going to give it a little taste test here and see if I need to add any more spices or anything. You guys, it's good. Oh, I forgot to put the thyme in here. So simple and so delicious and so fast. I mean, compared to some of the other things that I make, this is a really quick dish. I'm using the 4 boneless pork chops that I showed you earlier. If you have more people than that in your family, you can absolutely double this recipe. Same thing with the turnips. That's getting nice and thick. Alright, so we're going to put our pork chops back into the gravy and let them finish. And these are going to be super tender and super yummy. So we're just going to cover these with some gravy, let them cook for another minute or two, and then we'll be serving it up and be ready to go. Doesn't that look delicious? Okay guys, pork chops are ready. We're going to have one pork chop. I've already put my turnips on my plate while I was getting things ready. I'm going to put a little bit of gravy on top of there. Doesn't that look fantastic? So let me move the camera and I'll show you what I'm having for my full meal. Hey y'all, so unfortunately the battery died in my camera right after I did the shot of the pork chops for you guys. So the whole time I was cutting it and showing you how good they looked on the inside, how juicy they were, and how good the turnips turned out, there was no recording going on. And unfortunately, this is 5 days later after I made that video that I'm filming the exit for this video for you guys. And I've got my notes in front of me because I didn't want to forget anything that I wanted to tell y'all. But while the batteries died in my camera, also all of the outlets in my kitchen went out for some reason. And I had to have an electrician come in yesterday, and thank goodness I did that because I had a hot wire in a wall on an outlet that had been closed out years ago. That was actually a fire hazard, so the GFI tripped and stopped that from happening, and they came in and fixed that outlet, and when they did that, the others self-corrected. So we have a new GFI, and I've got new outlets. Well, not new outlets, but the outlets are working again, and they corrected the one that was causing the problem. So in the video, I told you that I had been having a really hard day. And part of the reason I had been having a really hard day was because the day that I filmed the last video, when Madison was in that video, I had taken her to the vet that day. And unfortunately, my 15-and-a-half-year-old girl has been diagnosed with lymphoma cancer. So the vet is telling me 2 to 3 months is what I've got left with her. And so after many days of just crying my eyes out, we just have decided that we're going to spend the days together, hanging out together, and just having the best time we can have for however much time we have left. And we're just going to live our best life together, and that's how we're going to handle things. And I will keep you updated as we go along. But the day that I shot this video, I had taken her to the vet to get a steroid shot to help with the swelling in her lymph nodes under her neck. And so I was running late and everything. So anyway, the battery dying in the camera was just icing on the cake to that day. But I will say that those pork chops that I made, they were actually some of the best pork chops I've ever made. And I usually get pork chops that are bone in, and for some reason they didn't have those. So the day I went to the store, they were the boneless, and they really turned out good. They were juicy and tender, and when I put the gravy on them and had the turnip hash browns with them, they were really, really good. So I hope you guys will try that recipe and let me know, how it works out for you. I did want to say thank you to the people because some of my friends on Facebook have sent me emails and messages and stuff about Madison, and just about me getting started with this channel, and I really want to thank all of you for the support for that. It's really touched me and it means a lot to me. The other thing I wanted to tell you is I'm working on a recipe. My cousin Jana loves blueberry lemon cake, and she's asked me to see if I can make a recipe for that cake that's low carb and delicious, and I'm like, yes, challenge accepted. So I'm going to be working on that recipe. Also, there's going to be a pizza recipe coming up with actual pizza crust, and what was the, oh, and a chicken noodle casserole is coming up. So I wanted to let you guys know those are going to be the next few videos that are coming out. And then I'm going to be working on recipes for the 4th of July picnic stuff. So that's going to be a fun series, and I hope you'll stay tuned for that as well. Oh yeah, and I'm doing a giveaway video. The next video I post after this one, I'm going to be doing a small giveaway. So stay tuned for that, and come on and play, and maybe you'll be the winner. And tell your friends if they want to come play, they're welcome to. And oh, let's see. And I think that's everything. I would like to thank you guys, all of you that have subscribed and liked my videos. And if you're new here and you haven't done that, I really appreciate if you hit the like button, because it really does help my channel get found in YouTube search engine, so that other people that have just been diagnosed and are trying to find answers can find me, and they can get the help that they need too. So please give me a thumbs up like button. If you could do that for me, it'd be greatly appreciated. And if you like what you're seeing here and you like the content that I'm putting out for you, please consider subscribing. And if you subscribe, if you hit the little notification bell, then it'll let you know every time I post a new video, so you won't miss any recipes or any fun. And in the meantime, Miss Madison's laying here at my feet, and she's anxiously waiting her dinner, so I'm getting ready to go and feed her. But I just wanted to again just say thank you and tell you guys I really love you so much, and you are really making my life better by supporting me and helping me to do something that I feel like God's given me to do, and that's help other people. So have a great day. I will talk to you soon. Bye for now. Thanks.